Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Drama After Dark, where tonight we are talking about the series finale of Poldark, which is a huge bummer, but we're still excited to be here with you. So I'm Jackie Bruley, one of your co-hosts, joined as always by Andrea Willian over on the couch. And tonight we have a very special guest, Matthew Gilbert of the Boston Globe, here to get critical with us. Mostly happy. We're going to have a good time as we talk about Poldark. It's going to be good.
It's very exciting this week. And to start off our week, we are going to have Jackie doing the timed intro once again for the final time for Poldark. And Matthew, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to hold this little hourglass next to Jackie's head.
It's an honor.
Good.
Should I TikTok as well? Should I go?
Oh, that's terrifying.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
She'll choke.
Tell me when.
All right.
And go.
Ross is acting real weird and Demelza is onto him. George sees Ross hanging out with Tess and the French on the beach and tells the gang of jerks that Ross is cheating on England, so they form a plot to kill him off. Demelza gets pissed and runs off to Dwight's house, prompting Dwight to call out Ross for cheating and Elizabeth's death. Dwight still helps him with his harebrained plan to pump a French general for info. Turns out Ross isn't cheating, he's a double agent. The gang of jerks still want Ross dead, so Mahogany Dad shows up to tell the French guy Ross is lying. Despite Demelza's best efforts, it's looking grim for Ross until George shows up in the nick of time and shoots the French guy and Mahogany Dad. All the loose ends are kind of together. Pretty close.
Let's finish it for the audience,
I
in case.
was going to say all the loose ends get tied up and everyone who deserves it lives happily ever after.
Oh, so close.
Pretty close. But it was very dramatic.
It was very dramatic, and you did a great job, Jackie.
Thank you.
But
I'm really impressed.
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
He's
that.
so much nicer than me.
Yeah, seriously. Someone has to be nice to me. You should come on every week and be nice to me.
You did, however, miss one of my favorite points, which is after the grand denouement, George and Ross having a brandy by the fire and agreeing to never be friends ever.
Right. It was great.
Oh, it was
great.
priceless. And I think it was such a good moment between the two of them, as people who've been enemies for so long, to be like, that was cordial of you. Yes, it was cordial of you too. For England. For England. Goodbye. Have a nice life.
Right. Until the sequel series. Oops.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Seriously.
Exactly. We'll find out about that eventually.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm sure, right? My favorite thing about this episode is that we got so much great consistency from our characters. So like another moment that I thought was really great was Demelza swooping in and saving the day by basically saying, yes, kill my husband, please.
Humiliate him.
Yeah, like I want him to be suffering before he dies.
Right. All of a sudden she was like this sophisticated French woman.
I know.
Oh, I like to be humiliated. Please humiliate him.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was a very intense moment where she was suddenly, you were like, this is not the Demelza I know and love. Which, of course, because it wasn't.
Right, but she's just so good at inhabiting all these different roles when she needs to. Like, I think back to the time that she and Caroline went and canvassed for Ross's mind. They did this a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Where they're just out, like, in the park being like, have you heard the good word? Like, that is...
Or my favorite, do you want to read a cool zine? We have a great zine for you, buddy.
Yeah, classic.
I think it's a great thing to see in the finale where you can see Demelza having come so far from the beginning when she goes to her first party and she's like, oh, Ross, I don't know how to act like a lady. And then you have her here being like, yes, my husband is terrible to me. It's really lovely. And also in that denouement was another great moment of Dwight hiding in the floorboards to record what was being said because, you know, tape recorders didn't exist then.
Just like, imagine important moments in history, but without a tape recorder, and it's just
Yeah.
Dwight Ennis in the floor
basement.
taking notes.
Yeah.
Like,
That's how we know about the that's how we know about the Declaration of Independence, actually. Dwight Ennis was in the floorboards for that. But he painted a picture for us, which was really generous.
he's a wonderful stenographer, Dwight Ennis.
Great.
The part where Ross is explaining the plan, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense, this seems reasonable. And then I kind of forgot that would involve Dwight literally, like, pulling the rug up and, like, skittering down underneath the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Super goofy.
I also want to know how that would hold up in court, but I won't question the show.
Yeah, once you scratch the surface, you're in trouble.
Don't look too deep.
Yeah.
Now, those are some of our favorite moments, but we, of course, want to hear your favorite moments. So please tell them to us. You can put them in the Facebook comments. You can put them on Twitter comments, YouTube, anywhere you're online. We will hear them. I'm actually going to take a quick second and look at our fancy Slack phone and see what people have been saying to us. Okay, so we have one comment on our Facebook feed already from Shannon Villar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Shannon, who just says, love Poldark. Totally agree. We do too.
Hashtag same, Shannon.
Same. We are so excited we're talking about it tonight. We're very sad it's ending. Let's look and see what else we've got. We have, oh, this is a really nice tweet from @lovable_Trey. Thank you to the entire Poldark cast for giving me near heart attacks, complete heartaches, tears of happiness and anger, and white-knuckle dripping drama that is filled every Sunday with anticipation for what happens next after each episode. Thank you. Heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji. Completely agree. This has been a really fun ride. Yeah, correct. So yes, please hit us with the comments. Oh, we have another one. Aaron K. Baum says, Judas, I can't believe it's over. Oh. Yes, agree. I can't either. So definitely keep hitting us up. We will be checking the phone throughout the evening so we can read your comments on air. And next, we're going to talk with Matthew a little bit.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This is fun. This is the best wake ever, right?
Yeah.
Wake for a show.
Yes, yes.
We gotta keep it fun.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
it's very lighthearted. How can you not be with Poldark
I know,
with the characters on it?
exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what you do for a living, for the folks at home who maybe don't.
Well, I'm the TV critic at the Boston Globe. I've been doing it for 20 years.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. The year after I started, The Sopranos premiered.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's good
Yeah,
timing.
so I went from having the worst job
Yeah.
in the world to like the best job that now everybody wants.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say.
So that's what I do, and I'm dealing with peak TV. I mean, it's overwhelming. There is so much stuff out there right now.
And speaking of that, how many hours a week do you think you watch TV?
How many do you think?
Well, I mean, your job is 40 hours a week, but having had to watch TV for work before, I would guess probably 50.
Yeah, no, more like 25.
Oh, okay.
30. Well, it depends.
seems
you know,
healthy.
Yeah,
It
that
kind of
seems
depends.
healthier.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what season it is, you know. I mean, I'll sit down and you know, scarf up 10 episodes of The Crown in a day, which is great.
Yeah,
And then the next day watch nothing
Yeah.
because I'm writing. Or
exactly.
something, so.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, that's a better balance than I
You know,
would
with
expect.
all the competition, I never let go of Poldark.
Oh,
Oh,
that's what we like to hear.
it's hard not to be attached to that dumb old show.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be attached to that dumb old Ross Poldark.
Yeah, that dumb old pretty Ross Poldark.
Bless him.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, how do you decide like what shows you're going to cover, which ones you just don't have enough time to really
Yeah,
like do justice?
It's
That's
really
tough.
tricky these days. You know, it used to be I could kind of see everything and comment at least having seen 1 or 2 episodes of almost every show.
Yeah.
So not the case anymore. I really have to not watch a lot of stuff every day. Just about somebody tells me about a show I've never even heard of. You know, because Netflix is importing all this stuff. Yeah. But what was I saying? I'm sorry, what was
How many shows do you watch
Right.
and not watch?
So how do I pick? I pick just based on the talent involved, whether it's promising, word of mouth. I try to sample as much as I can, and then just continue pursuing the good stuff. You know, I see myself now more as a curator.
Of course.
You know, rather than just somebody who's got the whole landscape down.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And going back to your earlier comment about having the worst job going to the best job,
Right.
how did you get into that line of work originally?
You know, I was an arts writer at the Globe. I had written about books. I had written about movies. The TV critic left suddenly. They offered me the job.
Suddenly.
You know, I've been a...
George
Oh
Warlegan
boy,
helped
this is
you
all
out on
right. This is a tough crowd. So you know, I took it over, and I have not looked back or regretted a thing. I mean, it's been great. It's been awesome. Yeah, it's such a great. You know, I spent my life. I was raised by TV, like a lot of people, right? So you know, I was already intimately familiar with it, and I just took it and ran. It's been awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Does the critical side of things ever make it harder to enjoy just like watching stuff for fun?
That's a great question. No. I mean, no. If it's really good, my analytical skills make it feel better, you know, because I'm being rewarded. Like if it's something really good that has a character who's fully dimensional and you can almost talk about them like they're a real person, you know, that's fun and I love that. And if it's a really bad show, my analytical skills make it interesting, you know? I think about why are people watching this crap, you know? I mean, I've felt that way about a lot of reality TV. I mean, I hate watching it, but it's kind of interesting to watch too and see what it is, what buttons they're trying to push in our culture and all that smarty pants stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting looking at it from a psychological point of view too, I would think.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you also have written a book, which is actually
I have.
not about, as far as I know, about TV criticism.
Yeah, it's about as far from TV as you can get, right?
So it's called Off the Leash, and it's about a dog park in particular.
Yeah, it's about the subculture of a specific dog park in Brookline called Amory Park, and just the sort of weird, fun characters there, and the way we sort of speak to each other through our dogs, and just the villains who don't pick up their poop, and you know, I hope it's kind of funny.
Indeed.
Oh,
Yeah. It was such a kick to write. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah. That was in 2014 from St. Martin's Press.
Awesome.
That was great.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So we have to ask then,
TV dogs. I know where you're going with this.
who's your favorite TV dog, and who is your favorite Poldark dog? Because we all love.
Well, Horace.
Okay.
Horace the pug.
Yes.
Because we were so worried about him, and you know, it
true.
reminded us of what we might be losing if Horace was not on the show.
I know.
We also realized if Horace died, poor Caroline would take the rest of her life
Yeah.
to
It would
be
recover
awful.
from that.
Yeah. Just all black fashion all the time.
Right, and cold.
Yes.
Cold.
Cool though.
I loved Eddie on Frasier. Do you remember?
Yes. Yes, Eddie was a good
yeah.
one.
He was cute. I liked him, and I liked his relationship with the characters. There's a great show. It only lasted like 8 episodes. Nobody watched it on ABC called Downward Dog. Have you heard of that? It's like a
No.
great little binge if you're a dog lover. The dog actually speaks, so.
Oh, cute.
But it's well done. It's
Yeah.
really well done.
That can definitely go askew, but there has been some good examples of that.
Yes, and this
Yeah.
is probably the best example I've
Okay.
seen.
So
Yeah.
we'll have to remember that one.
Downward Dog. It's
Downward
out there
Dog.
somewhere.
All right, we'll find
Find
it.
it wherever videos are streamed.
Right.
We'll be there.
So besides your favorite dog on Poldark,
Yes.
what is your favorite thing about Poldark?
For me, it's just always been like comfort food TV. You know, I love the simplicity of it. I mean, I'll sing the praises of The Sopranos and Breaking Bad and all the anti-heroes, and that drama is groundbreaking and riveting and like some of the best fiction out there. Poldark is just, you know, there are the good guys and the bad guys, and it's pretty clearly divided. It's very simple morally. You're not challenged usually. You know, you root for the good guys and you root against the bad guys. You know, George Warlegan, you look at him with his scowl, and you know he's the bad guy, right? Even though he did have a moment of grace in the finale. So I've just loved its simplicity. It's so pretty. I love that part of the world. You know, the ocean. It's just Demelza's hair, her green outfits. You know, Ross's hair, which, as we discussed, was not well done this season. A wig, we suspect, yes, or we know.
I don't
think
know.
I think a
Everybody
wig.
thinks it's a wig.
I think it's a wig.
I think after this episode and you telling me that, I'm starting to wonder.
Yeah, we should go back and do a CSI on
Yeah.
his wig. Yeah. Yeah, just a very sweet, fun show that I
Fantastic.
enjoyed. It's like an old-fashioned adventure show.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Well, now, speaking of sweet and something that we enjoy, we're going to make it a little spicier here. We're headed into the hot take debate.
Bum, bum, bum.
Gasp. Where tonight's topic is, do we want to see a Poldark Next Generation show focused on the kiddos of Poldark? Now, Matthew, as the guest, we will let you take the position that you would like to place, and then we will argue against you, yes.
Well, I'm against the rash of prequels and sequels and reboots and revivals. I'm so tired of shows not ending and not going away. I mean, that's what an end is about.
Yes.
So, sort of philosophically speaking, I'm against a next gen. But this isn't great art that we're talking about here. It's not Breaking Bad, and it's just, why not? It's been a soap opera all along. Why not keep it going? They've set up so many of the kids' lives. And remember, Cecily, is it Cecily? She's still out of the picture, but she was pregnant, was she not?
No, Kitty was though.
Oh, Kitty, right, so
Yeah.
he'll come back, or that
right.
baby will come back, yeah. So I can see a lot of potential. I hope they don't, if they do it, I hope they don't jazz it up like this show Dickinson, which is on Apple TV Plus, which is like set in the 1850s, but acts like Euphoria on HBO.
Yes,
I mean, it's like
such a
there's house
weird vibe.
parties and drug use and crazy sex and, and gender fluidity and, all that. So I would hate to see Poldark. I mean, they're still in the 1800s, so early 1800s. So
Yeah, I think there's something to be said with keeping the time period it was in and exploring that time period's mores.
Right. And one of the good things about Poldark, the legit things, I think, was its tie to history. And, so I would hope that if they did a follow-up series, it would also be somehow wound in with the history of the time. Yeah.
Okay. Jackie, what's your...
So what do you? Come on.
What's your take, Jackie?
I think that they should not do Next Gen at all.
Okay. All right.
And here's why. I have a very weird reaction to Next Gen stuff, and I think it's partly because at a very formative part in my life, I read the Harry Potter books, as many people in my generation did, and that epilogue killed me.
Yeah.
And it was so upsetting. Like, from the names to the kids, like, I don't need to have things forced into my brain when I've created a narrative for myself. And so in my mind, like, I love tiny little Valentine. I don't love the image of him growing up and becoming evil because he only hangs out with George. Like, Clowens as like a fun teen seems weird to me. I don't know. I don't know if I can handle it.
Or Loveday.
Or
I believe, who
Loveday.
we've just
yeah.
we're just
Barely
introduced
met.
to.
That will be unfortunate
Yeah.
in Next Gen.
Yeah.
There's some pretty...
They're gonna have
yeah.
to be a nickname there.
Yeah.
There's some Lovey Day. I don't know. There's some very Harry Potter epilogue names in the second generation.
Or like alternatively, they picked a name that is fully a Bond girl. Like they want this child to become a secondary character in a Bond film. Loveday is like
Yeah, that's true. Loveday.
100% what
Yeah.
one of those girls is called. Yeah. I feel like I like knowing about these characters. I don't need to know about the children. Shut it down.
Yeah.
I think I'm also a straight no. To contradict you a little, I'm sorry, because you are our guest.
All right, this is not a very cordial visit, but go ahead.
So I'm going to say I'm a straight no because I don't think you could do it the same without the cast that we had here, without
True.
Eleanor Tomlinson, without Aidan Turner, without so many of the great people on this show. It's going to feel, I mean, there are amazing actors out there. There's a lot of great contemporaries to them. I'm not saying that. But I think it would just get very strange and you would wind up missing the initial show more than you wound up enjoying the
Right.
secondary show. Because I mean, who else is going to scythe in a field topless? Let's be honest.
It's true. Well,
You know,
depends. The
Yeah,
casting
it's
people
true.
will be
They'll find
critical
a scyther.
to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
they
They'll
will
find
find a scyther.
Yeah.
They will.
I guess my question is, Andrea, what would you think if they waited like 10 years and then did a little bit of aging on like our current cast?
well, I think that
Yes
the
or
current
no?
cast wouldn't come back, right? I think
Right.
that's part of the reason. I mean,
Right.
they would probably keep doing this if the cast was like,
Right.
oh, we really want to do it though. I think the
Poldark
cast is like,
forever.
No,
we're
they're
great.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
years. That's it, right? 5?
Yeah, 5. It feels like longer somehow.
Yeah.
because It's so
yeah.
Yeah.
of our
but
culture
it's-
here.
The only cast member who's sort of gone on the record saying he would come back is the guy who plays Ennis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just because he's like a perpetual
Yeah.
sweetheart. He
Right.
can't say no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've
That's-
decided that based
yeah,
on his
his
character.
person in real life.
So here we are.
Yeah. Well, we haven't read an interview about him being like he's a diva on set and he would be terrible.
Right. Right.
I think that makes sense for him to come back. But I think if you just have Dwight,
Right.
you know,
I mean, they did this with Upstairs, Downstairs.
Yes,
That's right.
Do you
too.
remember?
with Keely Hawes actually
You know
in
what?
the remake.
And it was good. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't bad, but I'm not sure it
It was
had
very
momentum.
short-lived,
It
too,
was. I
you
think
know.
there really was only one season, I
it
think.
sort of felt like a mini series.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind if they came back and they did like a mini series 3-episode arc.
That would be
Right.
fun. I would be into that.
And you know,
Up!
oh, mind is changing.
Time's
we were going to talk
changing.
around. We're
Okay.
talking ourselves into things.
I knew I'd win.
All right. Foiled again by the guest.
Well, so we would like to know what you think, audience. Do you agree with Matthew? Should I bow to the whims of the people on the couch? Do we need a next gen? Tell us what you think in the comments, and let's see what you've been telling us. Okay. Oh, our friend Eric from Oklahoma is watching again.
Eric.
Hi, Eric. Thank you for tuning in. This is great. Oh, and Melissa's back too. Thanks, guys. Great to have return viewers. Melissa says, 1, surprised that George W. was able to shoot to kill. Hilarious.
Right, that was
Agree. 2, I know it's a finale, but all the bows tied up too neatly.
Oh.
Interesting. 3, hated Love Day as a name.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. And then 4, no to Poldark Next Gen. Aha! I have an ally in the audience.
Oh, this is
Thank you, Melissa.
I'm humiliated.
No. I'm on your side now. I think it would
Okay,
be.
yeah,
I think it
alright.
would be if they did it right. It could be good. Just gonna say. I
Alright.
talked myself into that one.
Okay.
So.
But this sometimes happens in the hot take debate. We
It
like
does.
talk a bunch and then we're like, okay, we have opposite opinions of what we thought, but we still have opposing sides because everyone has turned themselves around.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I
Exactly.
should turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure they should do it. I mean, come on, we don't need more of this. It's too much already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So now we're going to go on to our next segment. This is a fun one for us. This segment, we're going to be remembering back to the very first episode of Drama After Dark, where we made some predictions about what we thought would happen this
We
season.
did do that, didn't we?
We did, and I want to remind everyone at home that Andrea and I did not cheat. We did not watch more than the first episode before we did this. We wanted to give you our true, actual predictions, and so now we're going to go into a segment that we're calling We Were Right! Ah! Prediction number 1, and I think that a lot of you may feel this way too. Tessa is evil.
Yeah.
We
Just
don't
a little
trust her.
thing. Just a little thought. Some
Yeah.
people might feel that way. Who knew?
Thing number 2, we have a feeling that Jeffrey Charles and Cecily's budding romance is going to end in a lot of tears, probably for Jeffrey Charles. And then the other thing we're a little bit worried about, George's maid might be in trouble this season. The fact that George is starting to see Elizabeth everywhere, particularly in the women around the house, has me a little bit worried for his poor
The
Bessie.
nursemaid,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. So, I'm feeling pretty good about our predictions.
I mean, Cecily and Jeffrey Charles did definitely end in tears.
Especially for Jeffrey Charles.
Especially
poor
for
kid.
poor little Jeffrey
And
Charles.
however did you know that Tess was bad news?
Oh, I can't possibly
you mean-
guess.
That was a little bit of a gimme.
I can't
I'll
possibly
say
guess that
yeah.
one.
She was such a snake from
Oh
day
my
one.
God,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Poor
And
Demelza. I mean, come on, stop defending her.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Oh,
not.
was she
That was
thinking?
Even in the finale, she sort of tried to defend her a little bit.
It's like
Yeah.
the depths of Demelza's sweetness. I'm always shocked by where she's just like, goes from being furious at Ross to being like, I'm still mad at Ross because he made poor Tess fall in love with him.
Yeah, I know.
Takes 2 to tango.
Yeah.
Demelza.
Jeez, Demelza.
Gosh. And now, of course, we were only like sort of half right about that last prediction.
But we're gonna say half right because she did disappear, and then all the other maids got fired. So something bad happened to her.
Yeah, George, not a job creator
No.
here in
Not
Cornwall.
no.
And I don't know, maybe she ran off with Ursula. We never saw that kid again.
Yeah, we never did see Ursula again. So
That's my
big
headcanon.
question mark there. She might be off in the wilds with Ursula, fending for themselves. Either way, bad news.
Yeah, not a great ending for that maid. Maybe it is. Maybe she's just happily knitting away.
Maybe that's the show we need.
Yes.
The maid spin-off.
It's gonna be like Lone Wolf and Cub, but with the maid carrying Ursula on her back and fighting bad guys throughout the countryside.
I would watch the absolute crap out of that. That would
Yeah.
be such a fun show. And so now we're going to go on to our next segment, which we are calling the Costume Corner Special Edition.
Bum-bum-bum.
Bum-bum-bum. This is a very fun video. So welcome to a special Drama After Dark segment. This is Costume Corner, but the most exciting one we've done because we are joined today by a special guest, Kathleen McDermott. Welcome to the Drama After Dark couch.
Delighted to be here. In remote places like Cornwall, you're not going to get people wearing the highest fashion. You're going to get people getting clothes passed down to them. You're getting get clothes that people are making themselves. You're going to get clothes that are not dyed. So
And you were saying earlier, and I think it's important to remind folks, this is in an era before we have high-tech looms, there are no sewing machines,
every
you're knitting or
single
stitching.
everything that goes into making clothes, from the animal that you get, either the wool or whatever, or you grow the linen or whatever, every single function is hand done. So clothing is as expensive as a car would be today. Okay, a dress like that bottle green dress that Demelza is wearing is one that is altered throughout the show. We see it. And it's very much what happens to gowns that are gifted to museums. They open up the seams and they see 19th century gowns altered all throughout, because nobody can afford to buy new gowns all the time.
So we had a fantastic time talking with Kathleen.
Yes.
She had a lot of really interesting insights. That actually is a cut from a 10-minute long video that we ended up doing. And that's going to be on YouTube really soon. Like whenever this show ends, it should be up and there. So if you like costumes, you like fashion, you want to hear her take on Ross's hair, 'cause we did talk about Ross's hair, you should check that out.
The fact for me that so the one thing I kept thinking about when we watched this cut was that Ross bought Demelza 3 dresses like right after they got married.
Oh, yeah.
And according to Kathleen, one dress costs about as much as a car. So to me, that's a little like, is it Ross Poldark or is it Christian Grey? I want to know what's going on here, and I'm a little scared for Demelza is all I'm saying.
It is truly an outrageous thing to do if you think about it in those terms. Like, I've never had anyone buy me one car.
I've never had anyone buy me one dress.
3. That's true, actually. Like, we're not out buying dresses for each other these days. I mean,
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe you have a different experience.
Yeah. You might have lots of people buying you dresses that we don't know about.
It's a custom at the Boston Globe that we
Right.
Yeah.
But we're just public television, so no dresses for us.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, God. Weird headcanons.
Yeah.
So, that's how it works in the
good.
media
All
in
right,
Boston.
I'm rolling with it.
Yeah. So next we're going to go to a segment that we have made especially for Matthew tonight, and that segment is called Let's Get Critical. Critical. We want to get critical.
So,
Oh,
Matthew.
I forgot. I'm supposed to go low.
Yes, we practiced this.
We rehearsed.
All week. So we're curious, what is your critical take? Because you've seen many season finales, many series finales as well. What was your take on this as a final episode?
Okay, well, I mean, as far as like the last 15 minutes go, it was great. I mean, it's what you expect from Poldark,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
It's going to be a happy ending. You're going to see Ross and Demelza be beautiful together,
Sure.
Everybody worked together and they all solved the problem, and so I thought it gave me what I expected and wanted from this show. Everything prior to that was baloney.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, there was just so much, like so many plot holes, and it was so rushed, and running through those caves in the penultimate episode was just nuts.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but in a way that didn't matter because it's Poldark.
Yeah.
The swashbuckling was on point. There was a lot of
Yes.
we
right.
had sword fights, we had cave explosions.
It was almost like a medley of the hits.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
That's a good
It was
point.
kind of fast forward-y a little bit.
Exactly. It did feel a lot like What Do We Love on Poldark is high drama. And they just packed it in, which was if this was the show that you loved, you're like, oh, to your point, all the best hits of Poldark in one episode for me.
Right.
What did you think about the time jump, the choice to just move us ahead 5 months? So in the last episode, the penultimate episode, Ross is like, hey, Dwight, I might be acting a little strange.
Right.
And then it just suddenly is 5 months in the future and he's hanging out in a cave with the French.
And Tess.
And Tess.
Right, and Tess.
And Tess.
That was problematic for me. I just didn't believe that Demelza would believe him.
Right.
That
5
he
months.
was right. Yeah. I mean, it just, you take one look at this guy and you know that he has not become like a French supporter, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just struggled with that because you see Demelza going through all this agita about him betraying her, and you're kind of like, come on, Demelza.
You know better than
You
that.
know better than that, honey.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I was also sort of.
But I love it.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're like,
It was awful, but I loved it.
soap
You know?
opera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just a story.
I think that there's got to be more space in culture for like enjoying a thing that is maybe not like fancy, right?
Right.
Like-
Absolutely.
I think for me, something I've said before, I'm sorry to cut you off,
No.
is that I grew up watching a lot of telenovelas because my grandmother's Latino and she loves her telenovelas. And just that's one of the things I like about this is it has always felt like a British telenovela to me.
Yeah.
And this episode was the equivalent of that clip that went around a couple years ago of the woman like slapping a girl out of her wheelchair on a telenovela. That was this episode.
Right. Right.
Yeah, high drama for sure. But that's why we watch.
Yeah.
And speaking of stuff that we like, and in the spirit of sharing our thoughts with you, we're going to go into our next segment, Andrea's favorite. If you like this.
So if you like this week we're recommending Victoria because it's the not so distant future from Poldark. It has a lot of the same social political issues and drama and everything with that, but with a female lead, which is a favorite of mine. And I think also one of the really cool things about it is she's learning a lot as she goes. So you learn about a lot of the social issues of the time with her, and you also see her make mistakes and see her try to repair them in the same way that Ross does. So I think it's a very similar vibe as this. It also has a lot of gorgeous costumes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because she's the queen, she gets to travel. So there's like whole episodes in Scotland, and so there's a lot of beautiful scenery in this as well. So I think it has a nice sampling. And you also get the upstairs downstairs quality to it that you get with Ross in some ways in this. So it's an interesting piece to pick up if you have not yet after Poldark.
Yeah. I really, I often compare it to The Crown. It's a much more soap operatic, but it's much more emotional, and I love Victoria.
It's fantastic. There's always been a couple episodes on that have made me like clutch at my pearls very sadly.
I think it does such a nice job of humanizing her in a way that Victoria is such like not a person. She's that queen that everyone knows about that like did all these things that changed the world, and it's nice to see her as like a person who's also like a young woman.
Yeah.
I like that about Victoria.
One of the things I really loved about the early seasons of the show was that she was very often in the wrong.
Yes.
And would make a lot of mistakes.
Yes,
and I loved that aspect.
We have seen her grow
Yes.
a lot, which is nice.
Yes.
The character has really changed.
Yeah. So I think, again, much like Ross, she had a lot of growth, a lot of learning. So check it out. And I believe
That's a good
you
show.
had a recommendation as well,
I
Matthew.
do. It's called Gentleman Jack.
Ah.
It is not on PBS.
Nice pick.
Alas.
Alas.
Although all the masterpieces are worth going back and picking through and finding good stuff because there's so much in there. But Gentleman Jack is on HBO. Talk about a female lead. I mean, this is a woman named Saran Jones. And it's a series created by the woman who created Last Tango in Halifax.
Oh, yeah.
And
One of our favorites.
Happy Valley.
Okay. Interesting.
And Saran Jones plays this woman, Ann Lister, who really existed and was sort of gender non-conforming lesbian in the very early 1800s and lived her life as that person openly. She was a landowner, so she had the ability to kind of protect herself. But it's really an amazing story, and that performance. Is that coming through?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, that's
I
an
like
amazing.
that.
I mean, of course, it wasn't even nominated for an Emmy, but it's one of the best performances I've seen in a long time.
so weird.
She just takes that show and rocks it. She's amazing, right? Did you see an
I've
episode?
seen a couple of
yeah.
episodes. I'm excited.
Right?
to-
I mean, it's so exciting, and she's living the sort of gender non-conforming life that is so much in the news now.
Right.
So it's fascinating to kind of see how that might have played out back then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely. I have not seen it, so I will definitely check it out.
Check it out. It's
yeah.
excellent.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Awesome. Okay, so we have two great recommendations for you there. And now we're going to go into our ranking of the day, which is going to be the top 5 moments in Poldark ever.
Ever.
Oh boy.
This was very hard for us, you guys, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of good moments in Poldark. I think we can all agree. So please tell us if you think you have a better one. Like, we're all ears. But here's what we've got. In the number 5 spot, Caroline buys her way into Dwight's heart with oranges. I loved this moment.
That's how I met my current boyfriend, actually.
He just bought you crates and crates of fruit.
No, I bought him crates of
Oh, right.
fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
To fend off the scurvy that was
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scurvy plotline is one of my favorites because I love medical history, and Caroline using that as an opportunity to like shoot her shot with Dwight. A+ work,
Nice.
Caroline.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It was adorable
Yes.
with her just being like, yeah, so I bought you some oranges, which again, buying your boyfriend a car or your girlfriend a car, I feel in this situation, you know, it's like, I feel oranges back then were pretty expensive. I don't know, to be honest. We're
Probably.
going to have to do another historical fact check on that one.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, like you're like, I like a boy, so I bought him crates of oranges. You're like, oh yeah, that worked. I did love that though. It is
Good.
very much the definition of their relationship, I
Yes.
sort of feel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her love language is oranges.
Yeah, exactly.
And Horace the Pug.
And
There
Horse
it
the
is.
Pug.
Now in our number 4 spot, we have Aunt Agatha tells George that Valentine is not his child.
He is not the
so
father.
delicious.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Great. She was a
Ooh.
great character.
I missed her so much
Yeah,
when they
that was
killed
too
that
bad.
character off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so we have the Poldark calendar up, and Agatha is the month right now, and I get to look at her every day, and it just brings me a lot of joy.
We also added some tag to the poster that says Aggie is our queen on it with a anarchy A because Agatha is nothing if not.
Right.
You know.
She is. She's the wild card in that house.
She does not follow the rules.
Yeah.
She shot her shot. I just love that she was like, "You're gonna cancel my birthday party? Well, guess what, bud? That's not your son." Oh, I wish I had just that.
It was a very
Energy
much
more.
tell
Right.
Cersei I want her to know moment.
Yeah, exactly.
You want the
Right.
sunglasses to descend
Yeah.
and like land on her face and that deal with
That's
it meme.
so
Yeah, just Aunt Agatha for the win. Also a badass moment in the number 3 spot, Two Guns George saving the day
Yeah.
in tonight's episode. What?
Who would have thought that was going to be him?
I wanted him to twirl them.
Yes.
Yes.
And then like blow the smoke off the top of them.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty cool.
I think it was a little more in character for George to be like, did I kill him?
Right.
You know? Very
Asking
distressed.
his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
dead
yeah.
wife.
Like,
Yeah.
oops.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, I feel like George, I kind of thought he would have a moment of redemption this season because they've been sort of building it up, and he looked really squeamish every time they were talking about murdering Ross in the last 2 episodes, so it felt like maybe this was the time. But I did not expect him to come in guns a-blazing and literally save the day.
Right, no, that came out of nowhere.
Talk about high drama.
Right, right. But good resolution for his character.
Probably the only way that we could have had the two of them in the room having their like enemies
Moment.
forever.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Animosity?
Yes, love it. Another kind of violent moment that we have here in the number 2 spot, Demelza just wrecking Ross's face with that punch, that KO that we had.
I think we've pretty much used that GIF or that video clip in every single thing we could
Yeah.
in the building forever, and we'll always use it.
I'm not usually one to say like violence is the answer, but Ross really deserved to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad that Demelza did it. I think he didn't expect her to actually haul off and punch him.
Yeah.
Little did he remember, I guess, that he's married to a miner's daughter.
That is
Who
correct.
he met in a street fight,
Yeah,
lest we
That's
forget.
right.
Yeah.
We forgot.
yeah. He forgot, clearly.
We forgot.
Yeah.
And then finally, we could not do this countdown list without this being in the number 1 spot. I think we all know what it is. Ross Poldark scythes the fields without his shirt on.
Right.
Number 1.
Which,
forever.
as we discovered, was Aidan Turner's idea.
Oh, really?
Yes, so,
so funny.
it was really funny. So I think my theory is he was like, if I'm going to work on this bod,
Right.
I want to show
You
it
gotta
off
show
while
it.
I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just an epic moment that sort of told you what you were going to get from this series.
That's exactly
also,
right. Yes.
on day 1.
Yeah.
There is a really adorable little featurette that Masterpiece did about this scene, and it's really, really cute because it has Eleanor Tomlinson talking about how she's like, that's the moment when Ross is first like her hero, kind of like she sees him and she's like, oh, feelings, they do
Yes.
stir. Like,
Yeah.
Aye.
yeah.
Yeah.
She sees him across a crowded field.
Across a crowded field, scything. My personal favorite behind the scenes thing from this is the, I think, iconic Poldark picture of the makeup artist painting dirt
Yes.
onto Aidan
Right.
Turner's torso.
That's great.
Can't get it there naturally.
Yeah.
God, that would be really weird if they just made him roll around a little bit.
Yeah, and they're like, get dirty.
Come on,
Figure it
Aidan,
out.
you can do this. So those are our rankings. We, of course, know that there's a million more moments that we just couldn't include here. So please hit us up, tell us what you think those are. I'm going to check the phone here for our comment of the day and see what we've got.
It's your last chance for Poldark comments, folks.
All right.
Get it in.
Okay, so we have at I am Sophia Nelson on Twitter says, what I have loved most about Poldark PBS is that it took us back in time every week. We lived a romantic, wild, sometimes sobering adventure. Thank you to the writers. Ross Poldark is the hero we desire to be in our lives. Well done, and thank you for 5 amazing seasons. I
Very
can't say it
nice.
any better than that.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
That's
Very
it.
That's
nice.
definitely a comment of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Sophia, for that perfect comment of the day. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it from us for Poldark.
Yeah.
And we wanted to thank you guys for joining us on this journey. Thank you so much for joining us for the final episode of Poldark. And we just want to say that we're going to be back in January, very likely, talking about Sanditon.
We can't
So
stay away.
We can't.
Yeah.
Woo,
When Austin comes a-calling,
you have to.
you answer that call.
So remember to join us then. Keep an eye on the socials for any other announcements, and we will see you in January. Bye.